From shouldering the name of King James to the ultimate dream of playing alongside his father in the NBA, the question arises, will Bronny James ever be able to meet the expectations set for him? Let's start with the latest development in his career, the shock selection. Now, Bronny had things really going for him, but he was selected for the second team for the CIF Southern Section Gold Coast League. This comes right after ESPN's prediction that Bronny would make it to the top 10 of the 2024 NBA draft. James's teammate, Isaiah Elohim, also made it to the same team. Elohim is the 13th ranked prospect in the class of 2024. Also, Ashton Hardaway, who is already signed to Memphis, was placed in the first team even though he ranked 101st among the 2023 prospects. The stretch of difference is quite amazing here. To think that all this is coming so soon after LeBron himself announced to the world that his son was better than some of the current players in the NBA. Now, that may have been taking it a bit too far, or maybe it's just the father's pride. But honestly, LeBron Jr. is a McDonald's All-American and will also be playing for the US at the Nike Hoop Summit. So his not being selected to the first team is kind of odd. Of course, one thing's for certain, LeBron ain't gonna be too happy about the snub. But maybe that's part of the problem too. Bronny carries a heavy name. It's pretty awesome to have the son of King James make his way into the game too. There's something really satisfying about it. But Bronny's story is not his father's story. Keeping the two separate is gonna be pretty hard for the fans of the game. Just think about it. Here is the 18-year-old who's all ready to follow in his father's footsteps. Bronny is almost the same age as LeBron was when he decided to go pro and enter the NBA draft straight out of high school. That's no longer even allowed, by the way. However, at the same stage, things remain different for James Jr. There's mixed results. It's almost widely agreed that Bronny isn't going to be one of the best players like his dad, but he's already racked up a fair amount of achievements that some of the other sons of legends weren't able to do at all. Now, Bronny may well be on his path to greatness, but he's got some pretty high targets set up. Many have praised James after seeing him play, like Richard Jefferson, LeBron's former teammate, and Jamal Crawford, a veteran NBA analyst. He's also got Stephen Curry impressed. However, he's gonna have to walk a thin line to make his way as the son of the LeBron James. Because after all, if the expectation is to be like his father, how can he possibly aim to outdo the man? In fact, LeBron once shared that he regretted naming his son after himself, because it's not just a name, it's this pressure that'll dictate his son's life too. Plus, LeBron has said that before retiring, he'd like to team up with his son. For Bronny, this may prove to be a tall order because he's a 6'3" guard who hasn't got the otherworldly talent of his dad. Brian Windhorst and Bill Simmons discussed LeBron's retirement in a podcast.
Actually, a brilliant play. So he and Curry are on 2-on-1 against J.R. Smith.
And Kerr's telling them to do this. He's telling them to go,
because they
any
can't
chance to get.
score against the Cavs half court. Nobody can score in the half court. So everything works exactly how you want in a fast break drill. He throws it to Curry, and JR commits. And so Curry gives it right back to him. But the two missed free throws. I don't think Iguodala wants to go to the line.
According to Simmons, Bronny could have a shot at playing with the legend. But before getting there, he might have to play in college for several years. After doing so, he might emerge in the league as a defensive guard who can shoot threes. To this observation, Windhorst added that Bronny is all about playing the game the right way. I don't know about you, but that doesn't exactly sound like an endorsement to me. Because then the question becomes, will this so-called right way be good enough? You've got to think of it this way. Bronny isn't just in it for the game. He's got to make the league. On top of that, he has to square off against the immense burden of expectations placed on him. Now, he's been going at it head-on so far. He's secured scholarships, signed NIL deals with Beats by Dre and Nike, and he's got a pretty generous following on Instagram. Ken Griffey Jr., who knows a thing or two about being the son of a sports star.
His longevity and having his boys come behind him.
As soon as they get there, I'm taking my father to the game. The first father and son, go visit that one.
Says that there is a bonus to being from the James family. And this bonus is attention. But that isn't going to be enough in the long run. At the end of the day, it's got to be a mixture of skills, hard work, and talent. ESPN's Brian Windhorst also agreed that, along with skill, name recognition could take Bronny to the NBA. But his pro outlook and college prospects aren't on the same level as those of other elite high school prospects. On the other hand, there's LeVar Ball. With 3 sons in G League and the NBA, he believes that living in the shadow of a superstar parent is an unbearable task for anyone. As far as Bronny is concerned, many have shared their thoughts regarding his potential and performance. So far, hope and doubt seem to be going hand in hand. Windhorst spoke on the Dan Patrick Show regarding James Jr. According to him, there's no doubt about the fact that the kid's good. But for him, the question remains if he'll be a team star. Other than that, in terms of physicality, Windhorst believes that Bronny is much better conditioned than his father was at the same age. And even though he might have the skill and the build, he isn't the athlete LeBron was.
How good is LeBron's son?
He's very good. He is in tremendous physical condition. He is in better condition than his dad was at the same age because his dad never lifted a weight in his life till he was 16.
Another point he brought up was that Bronny being ready at 18 is a pretty big ask because Brian just doesn't get the NBA ready vibe from Bronny yet.
Assuming that he's going to be ready at age 19, that's a big ask, Dan. Maybe he will be. I mean, that's 2 years from now. Maybe he will be. But when I saw him play, he was a freshman.
Eric Bossi from 247 Sports seems to think the same too. Bossi commented that there's a lot of time until 2024, and Bronny does have the merit to play in the NBA. But the push from his dad might help too. Also back in 2022, Dana O'Neal shared what coaches speaking to The Athletic had to say about Bronny. Many of them agreed that he might not be NBA ready even 2 or 3 years down the line. The general consensus seems to be that he will become an NBA player, but it's going to take time. Now, as far as what kind of player he might ultimately become, let me share some of the comparisons making the rounds. O'Neal shared that, as per the evaluators, Bronny's path might resemble that of Josh Hart. Jonathan Wasserman from the Bleacher Report has compared him to DeAnthony Melton, the 46th overall pick, and Ayo Dosunmu, the 38th overall pick. David Thorpe from True Hoop has shared that Bronny plays like Fred VanVleet. Now, VanVleet was left undrafted after his senior year at college. Additionally, according to Jonathan Givony from ESPN, DeAnthony Melton was a comparison along with Marcus Smart and Drew Holiday. Givony also pointed out, in his opinion, Bronny isn't suited to be an all-star. In good news, though, a coach in the Big 12 has said that James could be a double scorer for a really great program. But according to the coach's estimate, it will most likely happen in his second collegiate season. Now, will that work with LeBron's timeline to play with his son before bowing out? Time will only tell. And there you have it. That was all about, will Bronny James ever be able to meet the expectations set for him?